right, you guys are good to go. Thank you.
High School Star League 2015 Grand Finals. My name is Seth. Achilleos King. With me on the desk is Seamus Seamus Anderson.
How's it going, Achilleos?
Oh, it's going great. I'm ready to get into this first semifinal match. It's a best of 3 between Forest Park High School and Temple City High School.
And Forest Park High School, man, they have sort of had a miracle run to get here, but it's definitely had a couple of issues. A bit of a background, since we're not going to sugarcoat it. Forest Park got here through disqualifications of the other teams that they have played against. If I'm not mistaken, the top 32 team BM'd them, and then 2 teams had ringers as they made it here. So a lot of people would definitely consider them the underdog in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be fighting an uphill battle, against Temple City, who is more so in that spot. Not to discredit the efforts of Forest Park, but they certainly have something to prove moving into this first round.
Yeah, I mean, Forest Park, they only lost 1 game in the group stages, and they actually have had a lot of really good strategies, and that's one of the things I was talking to a few of the players. They kind of fear their wombo combo because they've executed it better than some of the even sort of higher solo queue ranked players. But we'll see. Temple City, they definitely have some pretty high solo queue players. I mean, looking at Captain Nuke specifically, master tier player in the top lane, one of the top players for his team, and he loves playing carry top laners. So I'm guessing we might see a few bans or picks from him.
Yeah, definitely going to have to take a look at that one and see what's going to be taken away from him. His champion pool is pretty good, too. It's rather large, so it's going to be difficult to target him out specifically. We also do have a Rumble mid main here in this room, and I'm really excited to see if that one's going to come out or if that's going to be taken away.
Right. So the mid laner for Temple City, Zud, this season alone, he has 141 games on Rumble. So we could definitely see it's been banned out in the HSL games a lot. But then again, Forest Park also has a top laner that plays a lot of Rumble, so that might be a contested pick as well.
Yeah, certainly will. And just with the power that Rumble has been bringing to the table lately, it's going to be a contested pick, regardless. But there's still a plethora of other champions. We are on 5.14. Unfortunately, Gangplank is going to be disabled for this tournament, so we will not be seeing him coming into play. Between any of these teams this weekend. It's Tuesday. It's the start of the week. My time's table's just all messed up right now.
That's a good point. I totally forgot. I've been traveling and busy, but yeah.
So the Pirates not going to be seen.
Fortunately, well, that's the thing. We saw him actually in EUCS earlier today, and he did remarkably well. And since he has been disabled, it's probably better, in my opinion, that he's not going to be enabled in this tournament. But they're definitely 5.14 had a lot of interesting changes. I'm curious to see if any of the junglers here play Elise. I know a few of them have practiced a little bit, but not as commonly as you might think. So we'll see how these teams deal with the new patch. But we can see Temple City right there.
Yeah, pretty strong
Zud
team
with a great smile. Look at that smile.
He's a very happy man. You can see just a very well-balanced lineup here. Johan really kind of the anchor of the team in that regard. Gold 5.
Oh, no. This is his tag is Johan. There is an accent on the A, and whoever looked that up on LoL King, that's probably the wrong account. I think the one with the accent on the A, it's pronounced Johan, but the actual player, the summoner that's here today, is Johan, and he is Diamond 5 at the moment.
Okay. So, slightly incorrect stats. So,
yeah,
Diamond 5. So, we don't have a gold
player.
We
got stats here.
Okay.
There's one gold player. There's one gold player in this tournament, and he is playing for Forest Park.
Okay. So, we will see one, but he is only opposite.
Their supporter.
Okay, and that would be the support, so.
Yep.
Gotcha. So, Wonder Boy. Okay. Well, it looks like we're about to get into the picks and bans. You can hear that noise right there, so we'll be rolling in. And all of our questions will get answered here in mere moments as we take a look and see what these guys are going to prioritize moving into this first game.
Yeah, so first ban and also, of course, first pick over to Forest Park. I mean, here you said before the Captain Nuke, he has such a deep champion pool that it might not even be worth banning against him, but it looks like we had a bit of a disconnect. So as you guys can see, we'll get into the game in just a moment.
Good old quality PvP net.
Yeah.
Booting us right out. So we just have to have a player relog, it looks like, and then we'll get right back into the lobby and then start that whole process and get this underway. Of course, best of 3 series moving on, from here. Tomorrow's games will be a best of 5, I believe. So shorter structure this time. So these teams are going to have to be very careful about their picks, what they want to go for, especially with Forest Park on this blue side. What are they going to prioritize for that first pick?
Yeah, and what's interesting, since it is a best of 3 series, there's a little bit more room for using cheese picks, If you lose one game and you go on tilt, you could lose very, very quickly, and there's not going to be much time to adapt. So let's see how these players deal with that. I think that tomorrow the third place game is best of 3, I think, as well.
Okay.
But the final is going to be
Grand
best of 5.
final, yeah,
Right.
will in fact be best of 5. So that's when you really have that flexible period.
Right.
But moving up into that, you have to be careful. Every single game counts in this series. You go one down, and those reverse sweeps aren't very easy to pull off.
Yeah, they definitely aren't. So let's see, picks and bans now. Saddlewall, so what's surprising, he has this really ridiculously high win rate on Scion and solo queue, 82%, with 17 games played this season. I'm curious if Temple City is going to be scared of that at all, because that's definitely one of the highest win rates we've seen for solo queue players in general. And Captain Nuke, he's definitely one of the anchors of Temple City. He performs well almost every single game, so I'm sure they're going to want to give him a solid pick and a good lane phase.
Yeah, for sure. And we can see these guys really taking their time moving in here.
What was the first ban?
Yeah,
Did they skip it? They might have skipped it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Forest Park High School, if you look at them on paper, they are not as, not as high rank, and a lot of people would definitely say that they are the lowest ranked team in this tournament. However, they told me, and I quote, "We are prepared. We are bringing the cheese." So if the cheese involves not banning champions, then I guess that is pretty unique, Achilles, because we rarely see that.
And it looks like that is going to be the case, so they're just letting the clock run down yet again as we flip over to Temple City. So,
well, okay.
2 bans passed through. Looks like it might be a third one as well.
Take a look at the bans on from Temple City.
Yeah.
Rek'Sai banned away. Rek'Sai is definitely a strong jungler. Porcupine Pillow also has played her. It's his 3rd most played champion. And it looks like we're going to be remaking the lobby, hopefully for a 3rd and final time.
Yeah, 3rd time is the charm,
right?
As they do say. So hopefully this will be the last one. We could have been having, I guess, a little bit of a client issue with the bans. Maybe that's what it is, or maybe they really are just running down the clock and giving those away.
Yeah. Either way, we should get that result for you in just a couple of moments, guys. But some more interesting things just to talk about. Swimbirds is an Anivia main. It's his most played champion in solo queue at the moment. 64 games this season alone. And he has a 56% win rate on her in Diamond 5. So I think we might see that banned. We saw 2 bans already. I'm not sure if Temple City is forced to lock into those or if there actually was a problem on Forest Park side, but we might see the bird.
Yeah, that would definitely be an interesting pick. I don't think I've seen Anivia in higher level play since the League One Challenger Series, and Golden Glue played it because that was one of his favorite champions.
Yeah, and it's something we haven't seen really just in general on very high level like LCS play in quite some time. I mean, we see it here and there, but it's not really a sort of format or flavor of the month pick for the meta right now.
Yeah. It's very susceptible to just kind of getting blown up, and we have those high burst assassins in the mid lane that are making a bit of a resurgence. There's a few people who really love playing those. If you look at other regions in the LMS, Westdoor, one of his all he plays his entire champion pool is high burst assassins. He plays Talon, he plays Diana, Ahri, everything. Like Anivia, you go into that, you have to pretty much be ready to die.
Right, and I love the fact that you brought up Assassins because Zed has played a lot of Zed. That's one of his most played champions for the season. So if we do see Anivia, we might exactly see that Zed to counterpick it. That'd be Zed on Zed. That'd be kind of funny.
Zed on Zed.
Oh, man. I did it, man. I did it. Oops. But yeah.
I can't blame you too much for that
I
one.
know.
It's a very close alliteration. But, there, like we said, a lot of questions to ask here, what these guys are going to pull out. You never know at this level of play. It's very different. Even though these guys are resting in, the high diamond, even some in the master tier, you can't expect them still to follow the meta. These are younger guys. They come up with those. They're willing to do those more creative picks and build paths on these
like Rumble in the mid lane.
Yeah, exactly, like Rumble in the mid lane. I mean, what was the last time that we saw that? I believe it was Keen played it.
He's played it a couple of times, but I honestly think that most competitive analysts and coaches don't actually think it's a very consistent. Like, it's not something you just insta-lock first pick.
And that's exactly what, if I do recall correctly, this is exactly what Keen did in that game, and he was punished heavily throughout, even though Gravity won, I think. But I can't say for sure. They might have lost that one, but I'm pretty sure they won that.
I think they've played it more than once, honestly.
In the LCS?
I think twice. I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe if it was fairly recently, but I don't recall it happening.
So we've spoken a little bit about the top. We've spoken a little bit about the mids. Spoke about Porcupine Pillow. On the other side, Panther Lily as the jungler. He has played a lot of Sejuani, Nidalee, Evelynn. Those are his top 3 champions for this for solo queue this season, and those are all 3 very, very strong champions. So I'm guessing that's what will probably set a Panther Lily.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if the Sejuani actually comes out and makes
Really?
an appearance in this tournament. You know, she was a dominating presence. You know, there was a trifecta of junglers. She was one of them. Rek'Sai in there as well, and then Gragas. Sejuani really fallen off of that in the last couple weeks, if
That's
not the last
true.
month. Just barely see her anywhere. She's so punishable early on, especially with the rise of champions like Nidalee in the jungle, and now with Devourer being buffed up. You know, you see Elise now a lot, Udyr making a little bit of a resurgence as well. I'll just be pretty shocked if we see Sejuani, that champion who takes so much time to vamp up to be effective, actually coming out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The majority of the season was, you know, when Devourer and the new Runeglaive wasn't really in play. That being said, I think Cinderhulk is still a fairly strong item, and the nice thing about a Sejuani is just a simple champion. You know, you just group up, make sure that you don't do an Smithy ult and win the team fight. But so we might see that from them. And then I guess the last thing really to profile before we get into the picks and bans, Johan and Tilt God as AD carry and support for Temple City, and Forest Park's bot lane, Vodcavs and Wonderboy. Vodcavs has over 100 games played on 3 different AD carries, Jinx, Sivir, and Caitlyn, and he has a winning win rate on Sivir and Caitlyn and an even win rate on Jinx. So I've spoken a little bit to Vodcavs, and I think he's definitely one of their sort of shining stars. He makes a lot of calls and is definitely one of their players that like performs the best. He's Plat 2 right now, but he used to be Diamond, and he's told me that he's planning to really go all out this tournament.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, still, you can see even with these champions that these guys play so much and have these winning, these positive win rates on, they're playing champions that aren't necessarily in the professional meta, and I love seeing that. So Caitlyn, not something that we see too much of. Even Jinx, you know, really fallen off and out of the meta. Corki and Sivir have been dominating recently. But those ones, you know, you don't see them as much anymore, and it's really awesome to see these guys, you know, not being afraid to bring these picks out against each other.
The best part about that, Achilles, is that Vodcavs plays all of these sort of immobile carries that can hyper carry very well. I mean, except for Sivir, she's eh. But Wonderboy's main champion is Morgana. We've seen him played in HSL, and we've seen him played a lot in solo queue. So that is just, Black Shield is so good.
Yeah.
At just helping those carries out. And it's just, like you said, it's nice to see sort of these teams not be afraid to sort of pick off meta picks because they know that they'll work together nicely.
Yeah, and the Morgana is, you know, it's not one that we see as much either. It's one that's kind of been reduced as far as the pick rate goes. But I mean, seeing that one come back, it's pretty much the hardest counter, I feel, at least in my opinion, to Thresh in that bot lane. And Thresh has just been a dominating force since he came onto the scene.
Yeah.
So it's always good to see her come into play. She offers fantastic CC with the Dark Bindings. You have the Soul Shackles and the ultimate post 6. And then, of course, the Black Shield is great, and Tormented Soil is just fantastic for her ass.
Yeah, Morgana's one of those champions that is going to be a lane bully, scales well, can buy all sorts of items to sort of complement your team. I've seen a lot of Morgana take Amulet Coin just because, you know, in LCS at least you'll have a lot of roaming going on, and it did get the slight buff where it now gives 3 gold as opposed to 2. And movement speed, this season really has just been a discussion of movement speed. You know, you have the Amulet Coin, you have Sivir seen a ton of play. Even Ashe and Kalista as 80 carries are just primarily used for the utility. Righteous Glory, I'm sure I'm missing something, but I think AoE movement speed has just been a focus of Season 5 and probably still going to be very important for these compositions.
Yeah, and you know, bringing up that Talisman of Ascension now coming into the forefront. You know, Morgana, definitely one that usually goes for the Frost Queen's claim now, going, you know, more towards that coin star and then into the Talisman of Ascension. It's really great because of the buffs that that item received. And, of course, Righteous Glory received the nerf in 5.13. Now a 90-second cooldown, gives less HP, same cost. So a much more inefficient item compared to how it was before. So definitely going to be seeing Talismans coming out, you know, a lot more. And you get that Talisman, you get that Sivir. It just makes for, you know, a big chase down composition. And that's the big thing that Talisman offers over top of Righteous Glory as well, is that you can use it to retreat, not just to engage.
It's so versatile. And also, as far as cooldowns are concerned, it's actually a little bit lower cooldown. So, looks like we're back.
Yeah, finally back into the picks and bans.
Oh,
you see
they are banning,
yeah. So, okay, so it looks like we were having a little bit of technical difficulty. So we can see from the side of Forest Park, not necessarily going for that no Banshees. It will, in fact, be Fizz Rumble coming out from them so far. Rek'Sai, Shyvana, we saw this from Temple City in their first 2 rounds. coming out. So Shyvana, no shock there. She's just been an absolute powerhouse in the jungle with that Devourer.
Yeah, for sure. The Fizz and Rumble Band are targeted bans, and the Nidalee as well. Panther Lily has a 79% win rate in solo queue on Nidalee, and she's also just a really strong champion. Yeah. So I really like that ban as well. Good idea from Forest Park. Yes, you can cheese, but I think bans are pretty important, so I'm glad that we did get that issue fixed. But let's see what Temple City decides to pick as their last champion. Gragas.
So it is going to be Gragas taken off the board here. So a lot of powerhouse junglers now gone, but there are a few available. Evelyn is still on the board, somebody that's been coming in quite a bit.
I don't think
we won't talk about that. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So Evelyn's still on the board. Of course, Sejuani, we did talk about that one. Could come out.
Yeah.
But Elise has really been the big one that's come to the forefront.
This might be a Tahm Kench.
Yeah, now this hover we can go ahead and talk about because Tahm Kench is enabled. That is something that we've seen played both at support and in the top lane as a bully.
He picks it, Alistar.
Okay.
70% damage reduction on the ultimate. Probably, in my opinion, the best support in the game. He can engage, disengage, sustain. He can do it all, so that's a really solid pickup. Yeah, he offers so much, and especially into like a wombo combo team if you want to run something like an Orianna in the mid lane. That ball delivery system, we've seen it time and time again from, like, Afromu. For seasons upon seasons, yeah.
They just use that over and over and over again. He might get nerfed, but he'll always come back into the meta. And that's the best part about Forest Park. They know that they're out-skilled, but they're just going to wombo combo you, and Alistar's a great part of that composition. So we will see the carry top laner. Captain Nuke is going to go with Hecarim. That's honestly to be expected. And then Evelyn pickup for Porcupine Pillow. We see the Orianna, and I really think that'd be a solid choice for Forest Park. And I think Temple City, as far as the champions they've locked in already, are sort of going to go more for a pick composition, or just try to find sort of 4-man dives bot and just move around the map, as opposed to this wombo that Forest Park is currently looking at. Yeah. And I believe Captain Nuke has played this Hecarim pretty much more than any other champion, compared to his pools. And he's had pretty great success on it. Probably, within like the last 10 games, he's maybe lost 2 with that Hecarim. Yeah, in the past 5 ranked games that Captain Nuke has played, he has played Hecarim 4 times. Okay. So yeah, he really definitely likes that champion. It's going to be Ori and... Ooh, there nice. It is. Very solid. So not surprising so far. Everything has been, pretty straightforward. Like, calling it out, the ball delivery system with that Alistar and the Orianna. But now Elise coming into the mix, somebody who's just absolutely taken off. Yeah, and the best part about this Elise pick is that Elise is very, very strong early. I mean, she's always been strong early, especially when in her heyday. But the thing is, she sort of will fall off, unlike some other champions that are junglers. And the nice thing is that they'll have the Orianna-Alistar combo to sort of complement that late game. So immediately, very well-rounded composition. On the other side, Temple City locked in as Ziggs. And I know that Zed has played a lot of Ziggs as champions. He has only 9 games in solo queue, though, this season. That is actually a really interesting pickup in us as well. It is. It looks like a pick composition. You have Sivir, you have Nautilus, you have Evelyn, you have Hecarim. You're like, okay, it's a pick. Maybe Nari mid. But instead, they're going for a Ziggs. And maybe that's just for the wave clear. Yeah, so this, I do like the potential for the AoE here on the side of Temple City. You have that Onslaught of Shadows, Hecarim, dive into the back lane, kind of rope everybody in, fear them on top of a Mega Inferno Bomb. Makes for a massive amount of damage and crowd control. But they have to be able to pull that one off. Of course, Nautilus, despite some nerfs that he has received, he's still a very powerful support. He offers great CC. He's got that passive to root you down. He's got the dredge line to rope you in, pull himself to you, Riptide for the slow, and then, of course, Depth Charge to pop anybody up in your path. So a good amount of CC with that chase that's going to be coming in. Hecarim obviously doesn't even need a Righteous Glory. He can just hound you down regardless. Yeah. But you put on the hunt on top of that. Right. They're going to be able to chase you down. But last pick, to come in on this side, it's going to be that Gnar and the Tristana to finish out the side of Forest Park. So Tristana, Alistar bot lane, going to be really aggressive. Yeah, Tristana is definitely going to be so strong in the late game. She's great at taking turrets. We have also the 2 front line, like really, really strong front line, the Gnar, the top lane, and the Gragas as well. And then Elise that can sort of be front line, sort of be Assassin-y. So I think it's honestly well-rounded compositions on both sides. We are taking a look at the player cams. Again, this is Forest Park versus Temple City. First series of our semifinals for the High School Star League.
and I have waited all day to cast, man. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
I have as well. Quite literally waited all day.
Yeah.
I think I woke up somewhere around like 8:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And here we are a couple hours later, ready to get into the action as these guys, load into the game. This one really going to come down to execution, I feel. Like you said, both of these teams had a pretty good draft.
Yeah.
Forest Park definitely more on the side of the massive AoE fights. We're going to have Temple City going more for that pick-style composition. So really going to come down to the execution. I think for the side of Forest Park, vision is going to be a massive factor in whether or not they can succeed in this game.
I mean, when you're playing against a champion that literally is invisible, yes, vision is going to be very, very important. You know, using those pin cords properly and marking where the enemy Evelyn is. The nice thing about Elise is that Elise has a ton of damage, and if Elise finds an Evelyn 1v1 in the jungle, she'll actually win that duel. So we might even see some early game invades from Forest Park High School.
Yeah, and I want to see what kind of builds are going to come out from these junglers in particular, because we do have two very AP-heavy junglers. Something that we've been seeing a lot of from both of them is that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, because when they get on top of you, you cannot get away, especially from Evelyn, who is constantly pumping out that AP damage with her hate spikes. She's just able to stay on top of you. She's got the ultimate to slow you out. I'm just really interested to see how this one's going to
Yeah, I think I actually saw Dexter's stream a couple days ago. He was going full AP Evelyn, and it scaled fairly well too. The way her slow works, the ultimate slow, also scales a little bit into the late game a tiny bit better. I mean, both of these junglers aren't great in the late game, but it's also important to know that Panther Lily, his early game, the damage from Evelyn was nerfed a tiny bit. It was like the level 1 was the same, but level 5 Q is a little bit worse off. I think it's 20 damage. So I really honestly want to see Porcupine Pillow punish this Evelyn. At least get some wards down the enemy jungle, because they're going to need to make sure that Panther Lily isn't able to snowball any lanes from Temple City. Because, yes, Temple City could win lane, win game, and just stomp from there. But if their jungler gets successful ganks off early, it's going to be so hard for Forest Park.
So far, we can see a pretty standard start coming out from both sides here. Wards shooting up the river, so no one looking for any deep vision. Not sure if we're going to be seeing, any 2v1s in this series. Might come out as this develops.
Yeah.
As a best of 3 series. But so far for the start, just going to be very standard. Of course, Forest Park, they want that 2v2 because they want to have, they want to put Sadwall up against Captain Nuke in that top lane, so Gnar can kind of take off and keep him controlled.
Well, that's a really good point to mention. Sadwall versus Captain Nuke is definitely going to be one of my focus matchups, because we've seen time and time again, Captain Nuke is not only good at lane phase when he's on a weak laner, but he's also great at roaming, making use of those teleports. I just watched his games and I was so impressed with how well he did on a Jarvan carry. Oh man, Panther Lily.
Yeah, Panther Lily going to go for some invasive play here. Porcupine working
know
down
about
this red buff. He's going to come in. He smites it away, so that's going to hurt Porcupine quite a bit. And you can see he's actually walking out of that pit too. Goes back to finish off those to reset that red camp. But good early invasion here from Evelyn.
Panther Lily, that was very aggressive for an Evelyn, and perhaps Porcupine Pillow didn't expect that aggression from an Evelyn, and that's why he, smited early, but definitely a fantastic start for the Eve. Thing is, Porcupine Pillow on this lease isn't going to be too upset as far as sustain is concerned, since, those spider lanes are going to take a lot of damage. In the top lane, a little bit of harass onto Captain Nuke.
Yeah, Sadwall definitely going to be trying to abuse that range power that he has over top of this Hecarim as much as he possibly can. You can see still falling a little bit behind in CS in that regard, so going to have to step it up in that fashion. But
speaking of falling behind CS, this bot lane, Vodcast, I mean, it's very early, 3 minutes in, but he's going to have to hit all these minions if he wants to remain close.
Yeah, even then, he's still going to be down by quite a bit.
Can he get the cannon?
We can see, though, Wonder Boy has to be taken into consideration here. Kill God as well with those Relic Shields. We can't just look at the flat CS on both of these AD carries, so we'll have to see how much these guys are using those Relic Shield charges. But so far, pretty even in that regard. It's still down about 8 CS here.
Oh, man.
Oh, here comes Porcupine up to the top side. Finds Panther Lily. Looks like they might just disengage as Captain Nuke is waiting right above to help out his Evelyn. They don't want to get into a scrap that they can't come out on top of. Sadwall losing that Mega Gnar as well. They're just going to peel right back out of here.
Yeah, you saw Porcupine Pillow go into enemy jungle. For them, that might be enough. If they can make sure that they know where Evelyn is and their lanes can do all right, then, not a big deal. But in this top lane matchup, already Captain Nuke has accrued a CS lead and doesn't seem to be slowing down. 3 potions, a couple of flashes charges remaining as well. We'll see Penta Lily recalling the top lane. I'm curious where we're going to see these first ganks because both of these champions are fairly strong gankers. However, Evelynn generally needs a lane with crowd control in it, and I think that might be the spot lane.
Yeah, and with this Evelynn, she's going to be adding so much unknown pressure on the map against Forest Park, and that's really what this Evelynn pick comes down to. You need to be able to make the enemy think that you're around at all times. Because you don't want to get too confident. We've seen that play from EDG against SKT in the finals at MSI.
Yes.
That pick on the Evelynn, just constantly making Faker think that he was nearby and he didn't want to pressure the lane. So they need that kind of manipulative mind game play going on to make this pick excel. Because if Porcupine gets a kill over top of Panther Lily, the Elise can take off much harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see both junglers will be going with Chilling Smite. Fairly subdued game so far. Broadcast has a nice big minion wave to farm up. But he is starting to fall behind 12 CS down. Zud is looking for a little bit of help in this mid lane, but Swinbird is playing very, very safe.
Yeah, Panther Lily does have that red buff still. Can offer a good amount of slow. Going to go forward. Gets found out. Throws out a couple of those hate spikes. Essential charge will pop Swinbirds forward a little bit, but he's going to remain pretty safe for the time being.
If Swinbirds plays this passively in lane, I think it's going to be really hard. Oh, Porcupine.
Oh, yeah, Porcupine coming around the side. Knows that Panther Lily is nearby. Doesn't get, alert, exclamation point, however, to completely spot him out. So just going to come right over and actually take away a couple CS from Swinbirds, who is falling very slightly behind. That's going to be the onslaught of shadows into the top side, and Sadwall, he's pretty safe though, gets that double hop, fires back a little bit of damage as he gets those hyper stacks rolling.
Yep, Captain Nuke. He did not use his Ignite. I feel like that might have been an ultimate just to get damage down and push this wave out. As you can see, there's a fairly big minion wave, but Sadwall on the Snark doing an okay job. He's falling behind CS as well. Mid lane has been pretty even, but both bot and top are falling a bit behind, and I really would like to see a game from Porcupine, but I feel like it's just going to be more jungler duels.
Yeah, we can see Panther Lily, he's looking for this Elise. Not going to be able to find him this time around, as he does take away those Krugs. So he's going to go ahead and relegate himself back into his own jungle, maybe take away the Scuttle Crab around the Dragon Pit, which we might see some Dragon focus coming in quite soon as these junglers look to play a bit more aggressively. It's going to be Porcupine, not able to take away the Scuttle Crab, however, so that one will go over to Panther, and that's himself, that speed boost and that extra bit.
Yeah, and Achilles, with the way this game has been going, you really need to ask yourself, if the game gets to late game, are both teams comfortable playing in the late game? Like, who has the stronger just late game team fight and power? And honestly, I would give it to Forest Park. So I feel like they're content falling behind a little bit early in terms of farm. And Temple City, they'll need to use their early gold advantage to start forcing objectives if they want to be able to, snowball and make sure they don't get to that 6-item Tristana, they don't get to that 6-item Orianna and Nara, because then even with Wonder Boy on this Alistar, that's 4 champions from Forest Park that are so strong once we get to late game.
Yeah. You can see Captain Nuke using that teleport as he returns to the top side, not missing. I'm not sure if he missed any CS there, maybe 1 or 2. Sadwall on that recall actually is going to run back to the lane, so he will be holding that teleport. So definitely something to take note of. This could mean that Forest Park is going to be looking to go for a dragon in the next.
I mean, I hope so. It's been 8 minutes, no kills yet. Come on, guys.
Well, playing a very cautious game, not too surprising for the first game in a best of 3. You don't want to overstep your bounds.
I don't know, man. It's the first game. You can make crazy plays and, just start. I don't know. I was expecting like the Shen jungle or something.
Well, one of the worst things you can do to yourself is put yourself on tilt. So
that's
trying to avoid that.
And Temple City does have tilt god, so they probably are well aware of just tilt in general.
Yeah, they're very familiar with it, it would seem. Or maybe he's the god at making other people's tilt.
Wait, Achilles, if you're a tilt god, does that mean, does that mean
he
tilt all the time?
Tilt, or does he tilt? I don't know.
Well,
maybe
would
we'll
you
find
be
out.
this good if you're tilt god? Expert broadcaster. Interesting. But, no, that's a great question. Anyway, all 3 lanes now, even this mid lane, Zud has a small CS lead. Oh, we might see a lane gank in the spot lane.
Yeah, that is going to be Porcupine getting ready to work his way up into that brush. I don't think he's been spotted out here. Let's see. They're looking for the engage. It's going to be the headbutt pulverizes. He finds Tilt God, pins him into the wall.
So much safety.
Yeah, John takes a bit of damage from that explosive charge, but otherwise not going to be able to find anything. And Porcupine is beginning to fall a little bit behind, still level 5. Panther Lily has since hit level 6. So this Evelyn's going to be able to apply much more pressure now that he has that ultimate. He can, get that massive slow on his enemies.
Yeah, for sure. Taking a look at the items, in the mid lane, for example, Needlessly Large Rod picked up straight up from Zud, and Swinbird, he's itemizing a bit more for the mana regen. I'm curious to see what Zud picks up first. Like, is he just going to stick with that MR and try to, build early damage with that Needless, or is he just trying to buy the Needless for the damage and then build out the cloak? Fighting in the top lane.
Yeah, Sadwall getting engaged on yet again. The Onslaught of Shadows comes across. He gets that double hop, but the Ignite has hit. The potions are rolling. Will it be enough to save him? Looks like he will walk out of this one. Barely with his life. Here comes Panther Lily around the sideline. Ziggs is not in range to throw out the ultimate, but it looks like Panther Lily is going to find him. He sees him coming, burns the flash, and keeps himself alive.
Yeah, I saw Zud. He was looking for the Ziggs ultimate, and apparently that was too much hype for our computers to handle. But we should be back in just a couple of moments, guys. I honestly expected that. I thought Ziggs was in range for the ultimate. Like, I honestly thought that might have been a kill. But
yeah, that
forced
was
the flash.
Yeah, he was looking really, really grim there. But he does get himself to safety. But still a lot of pressure being applied. Gonna have to play quite carefully. Looks like we are actually back into the action here. You see Sadwall taking a heck of a lot of damage. He goes down. That's first blood. Goes over to Zud as they try to kite back. Porcupine's still pretty healthy, but not going to be able to find the fatal damage onto either Panther Lily or Captain Nuke. So that is going to be Temple City walking away with a kill.
We'll have to know, Panther Lily, he did use his flash in that last fight, but with the first blood pickup and now the CS lead and this first turret going to go down for Temple City, they're going to have a nice bit of a gold lead in their pocket. Oh, they're not going to get the turret just yet. They might actually just let the wave crash into the tower. Oh, we're about to see a replay of Captain Nuke walking to the top lane. So as you can see, Captain Nuke is a pony, and he uses all 4 legs to walk into the top lane.
Very astute observation.
Thank you, observer.
Seamus,
also,
thank you for
5 keys. I don't think that's a real guitar. What about one? You think that's a real guitar? I don't think so.
No.
That could be like a bass guitar with 5 strings. It's a nice rainbow tail, though. It's pretty.
Well, it's good to see that Seamus really appreciates the artwork that has been put into
Come on, that's a cool
Arcade Hecarim.
Oh, speaking of Arcade Hecarim, did you guys see the new PBE update? There are a ton of like new arcade champions.
I actually haven't. I'll have to look at that one. I saw the new Blitzcrank skin. That looks pretty neat. Yeah. But anyway, going back into this game, we could see, of course, Sadwall has fallen. Temple City garnering themselves a kill, and now coming ahead with a 1.5 thousand gold lead. So that CS differential that you're seeing pretty much across the board between all members, really starting to pay off for them. And Dragon really looking like a prime acquisition coming up here for Temple City.
And both junglers around the bot lane now. Really nice vision from Forest Park. Not only do they have a ward, their Tribush, that's a pink ward that's actually gonna see a ward in a moment. No, I don't know if Tilt God saw Porcupine Pillow there, but that was close. But they also have a pit or a ward in the Dragon Pit just in case, Temple City tries to do anything funny and take that early Dragon.
Oh, this is going to be Porcupine getting found. He repels up, has nowhere to go, flashes away. Zud, he gets cocooned out. Can they find the damage? The Shockwave is just not going to hit anybody. Porcupine still goes in. He goes down. Zud finds that kill. This is going to be the teleport on the top side. Onslaught of Shadows is available. Can they get him? Swimbirds, he gets feared out. Panther Lily so low. One more auto attack. Would have done it, and he doesn't go down. Zud getting himself a double kill. Temple City are just walking away with this game.
Panther Lily, no fear at all, and that is now the triple kill for Zud. They're a little bit low, but considering that Forest Park's bot lane just recalled, this is going to be the first Dragon.
They're going to be able to take this one uncontested. No members of Forest Park nearby to try to get this one. Dragon 1 taking 13.5 minutes. Temple City are in such a powerful position in this game all of a sudden.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, this game was pretty much dead even. A little bit of CS lead for Temple City, but this is a great snowball for Temple City, and we're going to go to a replay just of that fight in the mid lane. Porcupine, all right, so he's going to start fighting, flashes out, but the thing was, they try to re-engage, and the ultimate miss. Like, I don't even know if the ultimate hit, if they would have actually had enough damage to kill Zud, since he still has Barry and Flash available. Kids, whenever you flash out of a fight, probably not a smart idea to try and re-engage with your flash down.
Yeah, maybe if somebody else were kind of joining that fight, but
This.
with the arrival of Captain Nuke, so much damage. Panther Lily was so close. One more auto attack from Oriana would have gotten that kill. Unfortunately, just not able to make it happen. But this is, you know, Temple City just really, you know, taking that foothold in this game. Looks like we do have that pause still ongoing between these players. We get that taken care of quite quickly and get right back into the game.
So the question is now, what next? What do Temple City do to win? What do Forest Park do to come back in this game? Forest Park, the way their composition works is it is a team fight comp. They need to find that wombo because otherwise they're just going to get picked apart by Temple City. And Temple City, they just need to keep doing what they've been doing. They had early leads before they had any kills, and the moment they started getting one kill, it just rolled it. Now they have a mid laner with 3 kills, also has a CS lead, and first dragon. The ball is very much in their court right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be quite a challenge for Forest Park to start, you know, working their way back into this game from this point because they have champions that scale so well. The Hecarim is just not being bullied out enough. He's able to walk away this lane with a CS lead. Sivir, of course, is taking off as well. It's just not looking good for Forest Park. You know, this was the question that we had. Were they going to be able to show up? And so far, it's looking a little bit lackluster from them.
Well, that's the thing, too. The Hecarim has an advantage in CS and also has gold from the 3 assists. Hecarim buys a Triforce first. That's one of the most, I think that is actually the most costly item in the game. And the way you take advantage of that is, you know, beating him in CS and making sure he doesn't get that item and you hit your power spike first. If I'm not mistaken, the Gnar was building into that, he had the Phage, so he was going for Black Cleaver. And that would have been, if the gold was perfectly even, he would have had that first. But now the fact that Captain Nuke is so far ahead means the moment he gets Trinity Force, he is going to be unstoppable. And things will look very, very dire for Forest Park.
Yeah. And,
more so than, I mean, it's already not looking good.
Yeah. And going back to, like you said, he's building into that Black Cleaver. That's one of the more questionable item pickups for me. First on Gnar. We've seen, you know, Gnar really came out as, you know, being that Hecarim counter because he can control Hecarim when he builds the Frozen Mallet. He's able to slow him out so much that the Hecarim's mobility is completely negated. Going for this Black Cleaver, unless you're wildly ahead of him, it's not necessarily the best first item choice. So what, you know, what is your opinion on that? Do you think that maybe he should be going for that Frozen Mallet instead? Do you think that the Black Cleaver is a more effective choice or what?
I think definitely Frozen Mallet would have been a good choice. I mean, like you said, it is great against Hecarim simply because he's not going to take Flash and you're going to be able to slow him down. But we see a turret taken for Forest Park. That's going to be their first of the game, and that brings the goal lead to just a little bit over 2K. Yeah. But let's see what both teams decide to do now.
It's about 2.2 thousand, so dead even on turrets in that regard, just 1-1. The top lane for the bot tier 1s and now spread around.
Really smart from Panther Lily. He knows he's ahead. He bought into that Sidestone, and he's probably going to start putting a lot of enemy ward covers down. That's just something that's very high level. You don't see it so often in solo queue at low level play, and that's very like professional. You don't see a lot of LCS. And easy play coming out of Steel. I think they might stay for the kill. That being said, warded out. Tilt got in the area.
Yeah, they do find this one. Cocoon goes over onto Tilt God, and he's down to half HP. The bounce forward from Sadwell, who does not have this Mega Gnar. He's going to have to get that one. The Repel goes up. Porcupine goes forward, gets exhausted out. A fantastic Shockwave. Twinbird, he finds a kill. That's going to be 2 going over to the side of Forest Park. And Zud, he will fall. But here comes Captain Nuke, and he's quite powerful. Can he find himself a kill, or is he going to get taken down himself?
No.
He's on the run. That's going to be the lockdown. The boulder comes through. They get the kill, and meanwhile, Joe falls. That's an ace for Forest Park.
Achilles, what just happened? Tilt God saw Forest Park. He knew that someone stole the red buff, but he only thought it was the Elise. He didn't think it was the entire freaking team, man. They pick up the ace, and I really would like to see a replay of this because now the gold is even, and this is anyone's game. All right, so take a look here. Tilt God, he sees the red buff being stolen. He's like, okay, guys, someone is here. But does he expect 3 people? Not a chance. He gets caught up, doesn't expect the damage, tries to flash away, still goes down. If I'm not mistaken, 1 member died for Forest Park. But what an ult.
Yeah, that Shockwave.
That is incredible.
Beautifully. Sadwell gets the Mega Gnar right where he needs it.
He doesn't have ultimate up, and he doesn't have any defensive summoners, so I'm not really sure if he should have gone for this fight, because there's no way he has the damage at this point. But, you know, that might be the tilt. That might be the CC. There. Pretty standard, you know.
Yeah.
Wonder Boy going to tank that up. Well done.
Yeah, really well done by Forest Park. Exactly what they need to get themselves back into the game. You can see they also have that turret tank on top of it. So really ahead, Porcupine goes in on the side, but he gets grabbed up by that dredge line. Huge damage coming out from the distance, and now that depth charge goes over on Swinbird's in the backside. Zud finds a kill onto Porcupine. Sadwall coming forward. He gets the kill onto Zud. Now Swinbird, he's everyone back. Here comes Vod, gives in the mid lane. He's going to go down. It's a double kill going over to Sadwall. Tilt God barely getting out with his life. They can't find the final damage, but Forest Park are just taking this game and just putting it right into their grasp.
Are these the same two teams that played the first 10 minutes of this game? Achilles, what is going on? Forest Park now has a turret advantage, a gold advantage. They know when Dragon is up. What a turnaround. Sadwall is 4-1-2 on Gnar. He's got that cleaver completed, and Achilles, I think you and I might be wrong. That cleaver seems to be working out so far.
Yeah, because now he's finding the fights in lane. He was suffering so heavily, but now with Forest Park actually playing together like a team and finding these picks, it's able to excel and able to do the damage that's necessary. You can see now 4-1-2 on this Gnar. He's being so effective. It doesn't matter that he's down very slightly in CS. He's going to close that gap right here. He's just suddenly like toggling on, playing so well.
Yeah.
All of Forest Park is, and the rotations have been fantastic. Vodka's showing up, helping, getting that kill in the mid lane, finishing off that mid tower. All tier 1s are down on the side of Temple City.
Yeah, I think that might have been all 5 members of Forest Park. So great rotation. That's what Forest Park are known for. They know that they're individually maybe not as strong mechanically. They know that they're not as high in solo queue. But the thing is, they've gotten this far through great team play and fantastic rotations. They claim to be the best team at early enemy jungle invades and lane swaps. And, you know, as far as this game has gone, they might definitely know how to find those strategic advantages. But it's time to look towards the future. Temple City, they have this first dragon. It's up in a minute 30. Forest Park, if they want to take this game, they are going to have to start, you know, pressuring for those dragons and keep finding these team fights because they can definitely just snowball out of control.
Yeah, this is the point of the game that matters pretty much the most. Forest Park has found themselves in this advantageous position, but they need to maintain it and they need to do something with it. So unless they can get some solid direction and, you know, really utilize this lead that they've garnered for themselves, it's just gonna, you know, kind of slowly slide back into Temple City's favor.
Right.
So they're gonna have to play this quite carefully.
Well, I think Wonder Boy knows what's up. Look at his items. That looks like it's going to be an ace completion. And that is definitely an item that's going to be so effective, not only against Zud, but also against Panther Lily, and a little bit of AP damage from Captain Nuke. So, especially since Zud is the primary damage, he has 4 of the 5 kills that Temple City have. He's going to be the person that they really need to shut down if they want to keep winning this game. And Zud, he's going to try and stay alive, position well, because Ziggs is one of the best champions at making super long games, just stalling it out. So
yeah, and exactly. The wave clear on the side of Temple City is to be reckoned with. They have a Sivir with Boomerang Blades, the Ricochet, the Ziggs. It's a lot of wave clear. So forcing these sieges on the side of Forest Park is going to be very difficult. And it's going to come down to those picks that they've been able to garner for themselves so far in this game.
Yeah, so Dragon has just spawned, and actually Temple City, they are grouped up, but they're missing the pony. He does have teleport, right, but no home guard, so he's not going to be super fast. Let's see if they can take the Dragon.
It is started up, about down to half HP as they work on finishing this one out. Porcupine taking a heck of a lot of damage. They're going to have to really commit to this. It goes down. First Dragon for Forest Park picked up. That second of the game. Now Sadwall, he's playing so far forward, getting that speed boost from the dissonance. Almost has the Mega Gnar. Has his sight on Johan, but he will use on the hunt. So he hops forward, and they pull out an ultimate from the enemy team.
Yeah, it's a very long cooldown, so let's see what Forest Park decides to do. They're still all grouped in the mid lane, maybe looking for a fight. 5v5 here. No Sivir ultimate. Are they going to fight here?
This could actually be bad. Oh my god, Forest Park is getting absolutely decimated. The shockwave comes through. That could be the turnaround that they need. Temple City.
Captain
Nuke to the win. That's going to be Tilt God picking up a kill on Porcupine. Still playing the front line. A double kill for Zud so far. And he is just ripping through the members of Forest Park. Wonder Boy, the last one alive. Will he get chased down? The flash forward. The heal comes through though, keeping Wonder Boy alive. Zud almost netting himself a quadra kill, but just like that, Temple City whipped themselves right back into control of this game.
Forest Park, and specifically Vodcap's, too eager to fight. Even if your team is strong, if you're the AD carry, you get caught out like that, your team is going to have a very hard time. And that's now 2 turrets taken down. There will be a replay of this fight. It was a 1-for-4. Let's take a look. watch the Tristana die, and there's a lot of wombo combo coming out. 3-man shockwave, pretty good gnarl. But the thing is, the 80 carry's gone. This fight is definitely going to go in Temple City's favor. So,
Swimbirds can only do so much. Walks into that last bouncing bomb, and it takes him down. Zud's really coming forward on this Ziggs and making the pick work. It's 7-2-2 now.
Yep.
Another needlessly large rod in his pocket. So Rabbitin's death cap with teams with that. He's got so much damage that he's going to be outputting in these fights.
Yeah, with that magic resist, he's also going to be negating the damage from Swimbirds, who is definitely the primary damage source as far as AP damage is concerned from this Forest Park team. That being said, at least we'll provide a little bit of damage as well. But let's take a bit of a breather. Almost 22 minutes in. 3,000 gold lead for Temple City. We've seen the game snowball, or excuse me, not snowball, but it's been going back and forth. Sort of a bit of game of ping pong right now. And Forest Park can definitely still win the fights. They just need to slow down too, man. Vodcavs needs to position well, and they need to get the wombo before they really start a fight.
Yeah, that depth charge doing wonders for Temple City. Just able to take that Tristana out before he could even become impactful. Wonder Boy taking a lot of damage, almost down to half HP. Use that Pulverize and get himself to safety. Still a very tanky Alistar. That Unbreakable Will is available should he need to pop it in a desperation situation. But for the time being, he's going to get himself to safety. Aegis has been completed, so going to be very helpful moving forward in the rest of these team fights. We can see Forest Park are looking to shove up this mid lane. Captain Nuke, he's in the top side. He's going to get this tower, and he has his teleport available still.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with this call. Saddlewall, it wouldn't be bad split pushing themselves.
There
Teleport
it is. He's coming through. He also has the home guards, but won't come
Meganar's
into
up.
play here. Meganar comes up from Saddlewall, flashes forward, gets a triple Meganar ultimate, but is not going to find any stuns. Gets Panther Lily there. She's down to half HP because of that dissonance. Good chunk coming out from Swimbirds. That should be the disengage, so they pull out the teleport, but they do lose that tower in the top side. You can see that gold lead for Temple City is starting to stretch further and further. Now 4.3 thousand in their favor.
Yeah, that's the bit of that over-eagerness, Achilles. We saw the ult and the flash in from Saddlewall, but the team was not on the same page. They did get a decent amount of damage on the turret, surprising considering there's a Ziggs and a Sivir on the other side of the team, but this gold lead is still in favor of Temple. 4 turrets to 3 and about a 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and look at this difference between the 80 carries. That's going to be a huge chunk. 1.7 thousand in favor of Johan compared to Vodcavs. That is a massive number.
Mid lane too, you have a 1.3 thousand gold lead. You generally don't want a huge gold lead on your carries because that sort of is more significant than, if the enemy support has an advantage. So that's a lot more damage that Temple City are currently doing. And that's definitely a problem for Forest Park. They're going to need to position really, really well. And Saddlewall, he needs to start getting really tanky so he can be a good front line for his carries.
You can see in the case of Zud with that 1.3, it's the needlessly large rod. He's up that much AP, the 60 AP now that gives. And Johan's just stretching the CS lead massively, 210 to 142. That is almost insurmountable at this point, unless Vodcavs does nothing but farm for the rest of this game.
What's so impressive about that CS difference is Tilt God roamed.
Yeah.
Tilt God wasn't in lane the entire time. He simply out-farmed. That's pure mechanical out-farming. Even when he died, he still managed to pick up more farm. So really good stuff to go on the Sivir. Now let's see. Dragon is up in a minute, and I think we're going to see another fight when it spawns.
Yeah, more than likely now 1-1 Dragon between both of these teams. Going to be looking for that second one. Get that tower push buff that comes through. It's going to help, both sides obviously, but could do really good wonders for Forest Park because they have Vodcavs with that Tristana already a tank, a turret busting champion. You give them that added damage to those towers, and it's going to do that much more damage. It's going to really knock them down one after the other. The mid is pretty low. I believe it's about half HP.
Yep.
So one more visit there, and he could finish that off.
Yeah, the thing about, teleport is canceled. Interesting. They were looking for something there, but the thing is they have no really movement speed buffs, and against the On the Hunt, there's a Righteous Glory completed for Tilt God as well. They have great wombo, but the thing is the primary engage is either going to be on Wonder Boy and Saddlewall, but without any real way to get close to Temple City, it's going to be hard to start a fight.
Yeah. That was a really interesting decision with the teleport.
I mean, I just think it was the wrong decision.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it will not too much force. Park does go ahead and get this dragon, and this could be the fight evolving now as Captain Nuke's taking a bit of damage. Still got as well. Porcupine goes in, has to repel up as he gets called out. Swimbird's getting absolutely annihilated as Panther Lily walks away with that one. Onslaught of Shadows into the backline. Porcupine gets feared out, and he's still taking damage. Sadwell on the run, but he gets locked down. Not going to be able to get into that Meganar. He falls. It's Captain Nuke coming up with that kill, and that is almost all of Forest Park getting wiped off the map.
Forest Park, they went for the dragon, but all 5 of them weren't there at the same time. This is going to be a pretty much free Baron for Temple City. I doubt there's any way that we can see Forest Park contest this. But yeah, that is really unfortunate. The thing is, when you have such great Wombo combo, you're definitely going to want to, you know, stay together, grouped, and actually get the combo off. We'll see that Swimbirds gets an okay ultimate, and it's not as if, like, they misplayed the fight, but just the way the positioning was early means that they just were destined to lose. Now they're 8,000 gold behind. Captain's going to recall. We will check this fight out again. All right, so just watch. The Gnar isn't here, and the Gnar also does have Mega Gnar. Wonder Boy's like, hey guys, we might be able to fight, but there's 3 members on the right side of the map, and Captain Nuke and Panther Lily doing a good job. Swimbirds, they're going to try and go on Tilt God, but that's not the target you want. And Swimbirds is completely annihilated. Wonder Boy isn't nearby. Stillwell and, or Sadwell, I should say, excuse me, and Porcupine weren't nearby to peel for the Orianna. And the Tristana wasn't even close.
Yeah.
It was just really spread apart, and something that we've actually not really seen too much from Forest Park make that sort of a team fight mistake. So let's see if they can come back. It's still possible, but at this point, it's very, very hard. Captain Nuke has completed the Frozen Heart. He is going to be super tanky, and Vodcast doesn't have a Last Whisper. You can check out the gold totals. Over 1,000 gold lead for everyone, and on those carries, I mean, 2,000, 3,000 gold lead. That is really hard to come back from.
Yeah, the 80 carry. Since the last time we checked, it's stretched by another 1,000 gold. You can see Johan sitting on that Infinity Edge. He does have that item shared with Vodkaps, but the Static Shiv, you know, coming in, and the Bloodthirster almost finished out. You can see Vodkaps still just working on his Shiv. Has both components, just needs 600 gold.
And that'll help his wave clear, but wave clear isn't going to help you if you don't rotate properly. And that is going to do a lot of damage to these turrets, especially with these Baroned up minions. I feel like they should honestly just go for it. They have strong tanks, but they're going to take it slow. You know, they're not going to try and dive this. They know they have a very strong lead, and they're just going to let the Baron minions do work. See, that turret already down to 2/3 HP, basically for minion damage.
Yeah, and this is something that's a little bit surprising to me, actually, is Zud is the one that has opted to go for the Riley's Crystal Scepter. So getting that extra tanky stat with the HP, but also just locking people down. So not only will they get slowed from walking through his minefield, but they'll get that additional slow from the Riley's Crystal Scepter as well. So it really just locks them into it.
Yeah, I mean, what was I saying before the game? Movement speed is so important in the meta. Even if you have Wombo combo, if you have no way to get onto the enemy team, you're not really going to be able to call this out. You're not really going to be able to find fights. And Ziggs with Riley's is actually really interesting. I like it a lot. It's especially when you're this far ahead, because even now, if Zud gets caught out, he has that bit of extra HP, and he's going to be staying alive a lot longer than you think. Oh man, Swimbird's trying to do damage to this cannon minion.
And if played correctly, you know, Ziggs can be a surprisingly elusive character because he has that satchel charge to get himself to safety. Yeah, Sadwell not going to be able to do anything, loses that Mega Gnar, uses the ultimate as well just to try to delay Captain Nuke as much as possible. But
maybe he's calling himself Sad Turret. This turret died. No, okay. Anyway, so this top turret. This top turret's pretty low as well. It's probably going to go down on the next wave. That's now a 10,000 gold lead as we're nearing in on 30 minutes. The kills, what's really funny is the kills look like, oh, this game is close, you know, 9-12. But the CS lead and the gold tells an absolutely different story. That is now the 6th turret taken for Temple City. Dragon is up in 2 minutes, Baron up in about 3 or 4. And Temple City, they threw earlier in the game. I'm pretty sure they're not going to let themselves throw now.
Yeah, definitely don't want to give in Forest Park what we saw, but you know, they will in fact take a mile, but let that one slip right back to their hands as well. So right now, Dragon a minute and a half out. The third for Forest Park and second for Temple City. They're likely going to want to go ahead and pick that one up, though they don't necessarily even need it. I doubt that this game will go to 5th Dragon. Be very shocked.
Yeah, probably not. But Swimbird's, he recalled, and that is actually a Banner of Command. So I was mistaken, not Aegis on the support, but Banner. Still gives the same aura. So very effective against Ziggs as well as Evelynn. And let's see if they decide to go for a dragon fight. Not really. I don't think they should do it. I mean, look at the items. They don't have enough damage. Just on an LOS Whisper. No zone is completed, so there's no real protection from Swimbirds either.
And the vision control inside of Temple City is just monumental compared to that of Forest Park. You can see they do have some wards scattered throughout their own jungle.
They have wards everywhere.
Temple City, they have complete coverage of every single aspect of the jungle here on the side of Forest Park. And it just...
Two sweepers, but they're not upgraded. They're not lenses from Forest Park. So there's no way that they can clear all the wards in their jungle. And Temple City, I'm pretty certain, are just going to pick up this dragon for free. And Forest Park, they're probably just going to hope that... Oh, actually, we can see a couple pink wards, 3 pink wards in their inventories. That being said, I'm curious to see where they place them. This is now the second dragon for Temple City, so it's going to be helping as far as taking out turrets, but not really significant combat stats up. And maybe Forest Park will try to do something in this area, but
Forest Park knows this is being taken, but there's just nothing that they can do to contest it, so they let that one go over. So you can see Captain Nuke as well is pressuring down that top side. His TP was up, could have used that if it came down to it around that dragon pit. Doesn't need to burn it out, so we'll hold on to that one.
Achilles, we saw Captain Nuke split pushing earlier, and Sadwall wasn't actually able to handle it. That's pretty surprising because Sadwall has the most gold for Forest Park. And if we see this 4-1 split, Temple City are probably just going to be able to incrementally do damage to both of these structures. So the question is, Forest Park, are they going to try and make a last stand here, or are they going to try and wait for the dive? I don't really know if Temple City is the kind of dive team, so we might see a crazy aggressive play.
Yeah, they have so much poke that they can bust out from, from the boomerang play, the ricochet, the bouncing bombs here from Zud. They can just sit back in siege, constantly work down the health bars of Forest Park since they don't have nearly as many items, and then move in for that kind of push. They don't necessarily need to just go in and all-in dive. You don't want to go straight into the face of Wonderboy on this Alistar, because one pulverize, if he gets 5 people with a pulverize into a shockwave, that could be the fight that just kind of finishes it out and spells victory for Forest Park. The Temple City likely going to acknowledge and respect that potential. And just not really put themselves into a position to succumb to it.
Yep, we see the Bloodthirster completed on the Sivir. No last Whisper quite yet. However, there isn't really that much armor on the side of Forest Park. I mean, 1 completed random wins on the Gnar, but Porcupine Pillow has no armor whatsoever other than runes and masteries. So Temple City, they have all the control in the world. We're just going to see Andy Lily picking up that Scuttle Crab. Swimbirds. He will have his blue buff, so maybe if he can get enough spell rotations in a miracle fight, they might be able to make this happen, but still going to be very, very tough. I really think probably one of the next items we have to see from anyone really is a Righteous Glory, because they need movement speed to catch up the enemy team.
Yeah, definitely would be a pretty good pickup for them right now. The question is, who would they even put it on? No one is near being able to purchase that. See Captain Nuke, a few hits in, works that way forward, works that turret down to about 2 turrets HP. So doing a good job applying pressure. Baron has sent spawn. Temple City is going to go ahead and take that one away. You can see Teleport just being burnt for good measure.
Half HP.
Yeah, he joins his team, but the Teleport's actually coming in from Sadwall. Can he get the steal? It does not happen. That's going to be the confirm, but a huge knock-up. The Mega Gnar knock-up into the wall. Tilt God will fall. Swimbirds finds that first kill, and this is going to be Temple City getting absolutely decimated. Swimbirds will fall, but so far it's a 2 for 3. Can Bodcavs come out on top of this one? No, he cannot. It's just Sadwall. He misses the boulder. Zud gets the double kill, and Temple City, despite massive crowd control from Forest Park, still come out on top.
We saw the 3,000 elo play. The Shockwave, that was a 5-man Shockwave, 4-man Pulverize. That was insane AoE, and that's the Wombo we needed, but it wasn't in time. Baron was secured by Temple City. They have a 15,000 goal lead. This is going to be the first inhibitor, and the timers are pretty low, so probably nothing other than that, but Forest Park, I don't think they're going to be taking this one at Helios.
Yeah, it's looking grimmer and grimmer as time goes on. I'd love to see a replay of that fight. That was the execution that Forest Park has needed this entire
I mean, this is beautiful. Mega Gnar's almost up, so perfect timing. Like, the thing is, a bit of mispositioning against Bodcavs. Look at that.
That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful crowd control.
Melee Tristana, watch. In the next few moments, this fight is absolutely chaotic, but Bodcavs needs to position well. He
hops on top. which is questionably the reason why he died there. Had he jumped back, he could have been able to kite and potentially get that kill on the Zud and then maybe finish off Captain Nuke as well. So a couple mechanical mistakes in that fight, but overall great synergy from the team, and that's promising, and that's something that really needs to be in Forest Park's minds as they look to close this game out and move forward into the second one. Clearly, they're falling behind. They lost that fight because of item differentials. Had they been on even footing, they would have just wiped Temple City out in an instant.
Honestly, I think if Forest Park, once this game is over, they're just going to talk amongst themselves. They kept coming back and they executed very, very well. However, they were the slightest of mechanical mistakes or, very small positioning errors. If they can fix those for the next game, we will have quite the series. However, now, you're 16,000 gold behind. Wonder Boy's about to get caught out.
Yeah, he gets hooked in with that dredge line. The Unbreakable Will comes across. Not sure if it's going to be enough to keep the Alistar alive as he tries to run out. Johan coming around the sidelines. There's Captain Nuke as well. Headbutts.
They're everywhere.
It's a flash, but he's not going to get out of this one.
Oh, man.
That's going to be the Pony picking up another kill. Now 4, 2, and 9 on that Hecarim. And Forest Park not even safer than their own jungle.
So, speaking of, these next few games, if you are Forest Park, how do you adjust your picks and bans? Zud, he is very good at digs. 10, 2, and 8. Primary carry this game has 100% kill participation. Not to mention, Panther Lily's Evelyn was super good too. I mean, I was hyping up Captain Nuke before the game started, but he wasn't even the main threat now. Forest Park probably going to see one last fight before I feel like the base goes down. But for now, this is 2 inhibitors over to Temple City.
Yeah, they have those Baron-powered minions pushing into the base. Looks like they will go ahead and peel off this one. Wonder Boy has come back and will join his team. So not looking to overstay their welcome and give away a fight for free here. They will go over. Dragon spawning in 15 seconds. Perfect timing by them. They're going to be able to take this one away.
Yeah, Temple City, besides that YOLO Baron we saw a few minutes ago, Temple City has played very, very methodical. They have no intention of trying to lose this game, especially because we saw pretty good fights from Forest Park. They're giving them a lot of respect, and while it could be considered a little bit slow, this game has been going on for a bit. 38 minutes is a bit longer than I feel like the average LCS game, at least. You can't blame Temple City for playing, this patiently.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, we were talking about it before. You come into this game, into the best-of-3 series. It's not a best-of-5. You don't have that much leeway. Yeah. You want to be able to just get that first win and have that momentum carry
and the stakes,
you forward
man.
And get that
thousands of dollars. Like this is not a time to mess around. Not a time to be like, oh, can I 1v4 this guy on Hecarim? Like, nope. Just win the game, take it home. Temple City. That's definitely what they're trying to do for now. Porcupine Pillow finally has a little bit of armor, but Johan, he has Last Whisper completed. He's been underrated, I feel like, this game since he's 1, 2, and 11. But he has so much gold. Look at the minion difference. 350 minions after almost 39 is like, what, 9.5 minions per minute, as well as a significant 4,500 gold lead.
Yeah.
So even though he's not been getting the kills, he has definitely been getting the gold.
Yeah, he's been playing so well and just applying damage from the backside, of these fights. He's had this CS lead since, pretty much the first 10 minutes, and it's just been taking off from there. It's like final item. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to complete it here. It looks like he's actually looking for the Black Cleaver, apply those armor shred stacks with the Ricochet quite quickly. Sadwall moving forward, hops in, throws out the boulder, does get that slow out, and a little bit of damage on the Zud, but not going to be able to find true blocks. Temple City, they're going to be quite content. Those great for this to fall off. Sadwall down to half HP in that Meganar form. Super Creeps coming into the base. That's a nice shockwave. Johan down to half HP as he gets cocooned up. That's going to be the repel for Porcupine, but with almost nowhere to go, he has to come down and flash away. Third inhibitor falling. This is pretty much the point of no return for Forest Park. Temple City looking to put the final nail in the coffin as they move on to the Nexus Towers. One already gone. That's going to be the second one falling. We're going to go straight onto this Nexus. Looks like Forest Park has really nothing that they can do. See if any last round kills come in here for Temple City. Swimbirds will fall. Johan finds that kill, but the Nexus falls, and that's going to be game one going over to Temple City.
Yep. 40-minute game. Forest Park definitely had some moments, but Temple City had an absolutely fantastic showing. First game we've seen as far as League of Legends and the HSL finals are concerned, and they are looking very strong, not only to win the series, but win the whole tournament.
Yeah, that was a great showing by them. A little shaky at certain times, but not necessarily missteps by Temple City. It was really just excellent play coming out from Forest Park, who did let aspects of that game slip out of their fingers. Going to have to play the early game much more methodically moving into the second game if they want to take a game off Temple City and tie up the score here in this best of 3.
Yeah.
Certainly going to have to really watch their CSing. That was pretty much, I think, the most lackluster thing for me, for the early start of that game for them.
Yeah, the CS was definitely an issue. And maybe change picks and bans as well. I mean, do you give him Ziggs at this point? I don't really know, but we will probably find it out in just a few moments. Yeah. But before then, we're going to a quick break.
Yeah, we'll go to a quick break. We'll be right back with that game too, so don't go anywhere, guys, because we have plenty more League of Legends action here at the High School Star League 2015 Grand Finals.